And welcome back to episode 10 of Joe and Tell. Can you believe you're in double digits?
Yes, because that's what we do. And we stick to things. Isn't that right, Josh?
Yes, we do. We are relentless. Nora doesn't miss, and I'm sure Georgia doesn't either.
We've got another very special guest joining us, Mr. Josh Croggon.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being here. Josh is a natural world champion bodybuilder, as you can see probably from the background for anyone who's watching the podcast, with all of the trophies. Also a full-time online coach with his coaching company, Just Coaching. Years being in the online space, creating content, documenting the process. Also sponsored by some pretty cool brands, I would say. To add to that, Josh is also my coach, guys. So for anyone that's been following the bodybuilding journey that we have discussed multiple times on this podcast, Josh has been the person behind the scenes for the last 3 years, I believe. Yeah.
Has it been that long?
I think so. You had to put up with me for that long.
He's responsible
that is
for the
crazy.
biceps. The famous
He is
Nora
responsible
bicep.
for the biceps. Yeah.
The what?
Nora's biceps are quite famous amongst our circles because they are so big.
Josh has had the privilege of coaching me for the last 3 years. I am, of course, Josh's favorite client. I have a lot of respect for him. He's a great human being, and I'm excited to get into this conversation, which the goal would be to hopefully help a lot of people in the industry that are either aspiring coaches or current PTs wanting to get into the online space. Because Josh, you've had a fantastic journey the last few years. I remember when I first joined you, you were still doing some PT. So I've seen that transition going fully online, which has been pretty cool. But yeah, over to you. I mean, maybe give us a quick version. I have summarized what I could. What do you do and who do you work with?
Crikey, who don't I work with? That's a better question. Yeah, like Nora said, I'm an online coach. I would say over the last couple of years, I've very much transitioned to pretty much only working with natural bodybuilders. Previous to that, it was, just general lifestyle, right? Way back when it was PTing. I've been working in the fitness space now for about 10 years. I think it'll be 10 years in September. So I'm a little bit of an OG, you could say, or an unk. I believe that's what the kids call it these days.
Yeah.
What's an unk?
An unk is like someone that's been around for a while.
Is it like meant to be short for uncle? Or am I, because you're old enough to be an unk?
Yeah.
Gross. Didn't hear that one before.
Yeah. So I'm a bit of an unk in the fitness space. Yeah. PT'd for 5 years, opened my own little studio, converted my dad's garage into what I called at the time was the Mecca. It was so sick. And then from there, I did my first prep out of that gym, got into the competing space. And then as, my reputation within bodybuilding has grown, my online coaching business has as well. So unfortunately, I had to knock it on the head, the old PT stuff. But I think, letting go of that and then going all in on the online was 100% the best thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah, I've been full-time online coaching for 4.5 years now. Did a little bit of PTing for 2 years, on that kind of crossover. But yeah, now it is all online and it is all great fun. No stress at all. Ultimate freedom, like what everyone tells you. No, I'm joking. It is good though. I'm very grateful for the position that I'm in. Like we've already discussed, I work with some pretty cool brands that have all come through the bodybuilding stuff and me documenting the journey. And yeah, just grateful to have all these opportunities.
That's amazing. I didn't know that you'd had your own studio and it had kind of gone on that journey. How did you get into fitness in the first place? Because was there a Josh in the gym before there was a bodybuilder Josh? When did that start? Have you always been sporty?
Yeah, I've always been a pretty sporty guy. I started training when I was 16 to try and get a little bit more, muscular for playing football. And very quickly, I think I realized that I enjoyed the training more than I did the actual playing football. And then, when you enjoy something, you get good at it. It then has more negatives to other aspects of life. So I found myself getting quite injury prone when it came to playing football. And then that just forced me down the bodybuilding even more. So I ended up with 2 pretty bad ACL injuries. And then that just forced me to go all in on the bodybuilding, which again, wasn't a great time, but it's ended up becoming the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's the center of your business and world, I guess. Did you have to have surgery for your ACL?
Yeah, I had 3 operations over the space of 18 months, which was Awful. It was like 2.5 years of rehab. Terrible.
God, I've got a few friends that are going through similar things, and it's horrible, especially when you're someone that enjoys the gym so much. How did that impact your training? That must have been a journey in itself.
Yeah, well, I think that was the start of like me becoming a men's physique competitor. I'm not sure how much you know, but in bodybuilding, you've got bodybuilding, which is wearing like the tiny little thong, and you've got classic, which is a slightly longer trunk, and then you've got what I do, which is men's physique, which is wearing board shorts down to your knees, so your legs aren't really on show.
So does Gio wear the shorts too?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't think I've seen Gio in a thong before.
No.
So the less clothing. So walk me through this, guys, because I'm a bodybuilding noob. So do you get, as you get bigger, do you wear less?
Pretty much.
Basically.
So if you've got big legs, you won't compete against me. You'll go and do the bodybuilding, which is tiny trunks. If legs aren't your thing, or if you've got a really big upper body like Gio does, then the board shorts is kind of like where you sit. So my injury basically meant that I could only train upper body for about 2 years, and everything on my lower body was just like rehab stuff. So yeah, that kind of like determined my direction from day one.
What made you want to compete? Like, do you remember that switch in like from training for football to then getting the injuries, then being like, I want to step on stage? Do you have someone that you looked up to that was like competing at the time? Like,
Yeah, my introduction to specifically men's physique was pretty wild. I've got an uncle who, at the time when I was like 16, 17 years old, he was a window cleaner. And one of the guys that he cleaned the windows for was Ryan Terry, who, if
okay.
I don't expect you to know who that is. He's now 3-time Mr. Olympia. So he's the best. He's the king. So yeah, when I was like 17, my uncle showed me like this guy, and he was like, oh, he's doing these shows out in America. He's sponsored by like USN. He's got like his photos all over the gym that he trains at. And I was like in awe of this guy. I was like, oh my God, he's so cool. I want to be like him. That was my introduction and like my inspiration. And yeah.
Have you met him?
Yeah, he's met him. I was just gonna say that. You even have a YouTube video with him now.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, it's gone full circle. The first when I won my so in bodybuilding you've got like certain tiers. You'd compete as an amateur, and then your goal as an amateur is to win your pro card, and then you go and compete all over the world as a pro. When I won my pro card, I was wearing shorts that Ryan designed. So it was like his brand. And about a year after that, I went to a Gymshark event and Ryan was there, and his wife saw me and was like, I know you. You wore Ryan's shorts on stage. And I was like, shit, she knows who I am.
Oh my
So she
God.
like pulled me out of this queue and was like, Ryan, who's this? And Ryan was like, oh, Josh, nice to meet you. Thank you for wearing my shorts. I was just like, what the fuck's going on?
Oh my God, that's amazing. How
Amazing. Yeah.
your idol knew who you were and you had no idea until you met.
Yeah. Right.
That's
And then
cool.
it gets crazier. So 2 years ago, through doing my own podcast, I ended up kind of becoming friends with someone at Gymshark, a guy called Ash. Very cool guy. He's the head of male brand, I believe. And at the start of last year, he was part of a team that was designing Ryan's board shorts for the Olympia last year. And he was like, right, we need someone that's in the industry. We need someone that knows the space. Do you want to be part of the team to design the shorts? I was like, are you fucking kidding? Like, hell yeah. So all last year, like I was going to Gymshark pretty much every month, going and doing like measurement fittings, design stuff, like you name it. And obviously spent a decent amount of time with Ryan throughout all that. So he ended up wearing a pair of shorts that I was like part of for when he won his third Olympia. So like the craziest full circle moment that you could ever imagine. Like, and I still look at it now. I'm like, I can't believe bodybuilding has provided me with these opportunities. It's the maddest thing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so cool. Those are the shorts that Gio will be wearing on stage this year. Because when they came out, Josh was like, "Guys, they're live." And I went and got them for Gio for as a gift. So yeah, very cool seeing that.
It's so like I've seen a few people wear them on stage now, and it's like I can't get my head around it. It's the coolest thing that I've ever been part of.
Oh, that's really, really cool. What a story. And to
Yeah.
think it started with Unk. The window cleaner.
Yeah, showing me this guy that was on the cover of bloody magazines and stuff. Wild.
Sick.
Of that. So then you started your training journey. Like, what then got you into PTing?
Plain and simple, I've quite enjoyed helping people. I think, I don't know, I have no idea why, but I've always been more driven by having an impact than kind of, making shitloads of money and all that kind of stuff. And I found that like with my own training, I'd want to help people more than I would want to train myself. So naturally, it's like, I enjoy being in the gym. I enjoy helping people. PTing is going to be like the perfect fit.
Yeah.
So when I was 18, going through like all my injuries, I went and got my PT qualifications, started working in a few different gyms throughout like my local area. And then it just kind of like grew and snowballed from there.
Nice. Where is your local area, by the way, Josh?
So I live in Sheffield, but at the time I was living in Rotherham. So I was like working all over South Yorkshire. I think at my like busiest, I was working in 4 different gyms, teaching spin classes, you know, just doing all sorts of shit just to try and build my reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
But it is part of the parcel, I think, with it, right? Like, I think a lot of new personal trainers that we've come across in the last few years see this picture of like an online coaching business and see people like you and think, well, I want to be like Josh, like I want to do that. And they think they can almost like skip some of the steps. And I think, if you've not got experience coaching people on the gym floor, you've never run a class, like you don't know how people move and you can't like coach yet because you've just qualified, like I don't feel like you deserve to have a successful online business yet. And, cancel me, but I do think that that is really important to become a really good coach, to have that grounding and experience. Do you think it helped you become the coach that you are today?
100%. Like when you're in a gym, you see every type of person. When you're online, you end up seeing a lot of one type of person. So you don't know how to like deliver a coaching service to everyone. You're kind of like, right, that's the person that I want to work with because I've seen, I don't know, AJ Morris do it or, whoever the top coaches are. And you kind of like forget that there is this huge demographic of people, and like your coaching business isn't going to be working with the dream client 100 times. It's going to be working with 100 different people, or even 20 different people. And yeah, you're absolutely right. You've almost got to earn the right to have that type of business. And
Yeah.
everyone wants this quick fix nowadays. No one wants to have to be patient or do a lot of boring shifts or work for free for a bit. It's all like, I want to live in Dubai and earn fucking 20 grand a month. Like, it's just not realistic.
I think the other thing is you have to earn the right to like be a good coach, because like coaching is not writing a training program. Like a lot of people think because I can program for myself, I can suddenly coach people. But I find even in the fitness industry, like coaching in general is how you deal with people, how you manage expectations, how you manage their feelings, their emotions. Like a huge part of the coaching, especially with you working with competitors, I imagine, is managing everything outside of the training rather than the training itself or the nutrition and stuff. And that's what coaching is all about. And that in-person experience helps shape that, isn't it? And like it helps you like understand different types of people before you get
Absolutely.
online.
I could talk all day on this. If I didn't do the in-person stuff for as long as what I did with the variety of people that I did it with, I really don't think that I'd be in the position that I am now with my coaching business. And I think everyone just sees where it's at now and just think that that's how it's been all the time. It's so far from the truth, honestly.
Yeah. It must have been quite a journey in terms of building the online stuff. And it was gradual. Like you said, you were still doing some in-person stuff as you were scaling the online business. So what did the early days of your online coaching business actually look like? If that was 4.5 years ago, you said?
Yeah, my like introduction to online coaching was almost like having it as a bolt on to my in-person services. So it'd be like, say on an average week, I'd do 50 PT sessions. If someone wanted more sessions that I couldn't provide them, I'd put them on an online training platform as well. So I use an app called True Coach. I have done pretty much from day one. I think it's great. I'd basically just offer an additional service on there so that I've their session with me plus 2 or 3 sessions on True Coach. And that was like, right, okay, I'm getting used to, almost like monitoring things online and like keeping someone accountable without having to, have them in the gym with me at all times. That was like, it was almost like a soft launch of online coaching. And then, like most people, COVID happened and it became the only thing that I was doing. And I'm again, like very, very grateful that it did happen, because I don't think I would have ever took that leap. I think I'd have just, I don't know, just been Josh in the gym and been grateful that my diary's always booked and I worked with pretty good people, but it weren't scalable. So yeah, COVID happened, everyone moved online. And then that was kind of like, right, okay, now I need to make this process better and almost like manage my time better and just be like the coach that I'm in person, but transferring it to an online setting.
I love that.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first fully online client? Because I remember you still have people from like Australia and stuff, isn't it, as well? Like you work with people all around the world. So like what got you your first few clients fully online that were in hybrid?
So my first ever online client signed up with me on the 2nd of September 2019. And it was a guy called Phil Hashuk. Phil, shout out Phil. I love Phil. I met Phil when I was doing a gap year in Australia. We became really good mates and then kind of like almost like pen pals after that. And I remember the date so specifically because it was the day after my first ever show. So I went and did that. And the day after, he was like, I want to do the same. Let's do it. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. The dream is occurring. So yeah, Phil signed up. And then I had Phil for 6 years. 7 years. In that time, like he competed a lot. He's literally one of my best mates in the world. I ended up going to Australia to go to his wedding. Yeah. So that was the first one. And I would say like the thing that like got the ball rolling was documenting what I was doing to some degree, posting my workouts, posting the show stuff, but keeping it truly like authentic to myself.
Yeah.
Rather than like trying to copy what other people were doing. It was like I'd type the way that I talk. I'd keep it like extremely honest rather than trying to dress it up to be this amazing, wonderful thing that I'm doing. It was just authentic to me. And some people bought into it. And once someone's got an interest in you and you're, consistent with your results and all the rest of it, they are more likely or more keen to want to work with you. So I'd say that's kind of like what got the ball rolling. I wouldn't put it entirely down to competing, but it was more the fact that I was consistent with everything and I did all the things that I said that I was going to do.
Practice what you preach.
100%.
Yeah, like your own social proof. Love that. Have you had a lot of clients like compete then? Is that kind of like the main thing that happens in the business now? People going on stage as opposed to like general body transformation? Is it competitive bodybuilding?
I would say that everyone that I work with is a bodybuilder. Some people won't step on stage. Some people, well, I'd say like 90% of my clients are planning on stepping on stage. But even the ones that aren't, they've got a bodybuilder's mindset. They've got an interest in bodybuilding. They've got, like the same training styles as a bodybuilder. None of them are that interested in high rocks or that kind of thing. It's just kind of, it's all in on the hypertrophy, the bulking, the cutting, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I do know quite a bit about this from Nora. My God, Josh, must be in your session we did on Monday. Fuck my life. My shoulders have not recovered. It's now Wednesday afternoon and I'm like, ugh. So yeah, that hypertrophy stuff, guys, does definitely work.
Yeah.
That's really cool. There's quite a lot of mindset coaching that must go into this then. If you're getting people in the position to be able to like put on a little song on stage, how do you work with people on like getting in the right headspace to not, let's put it bluntly, you stood in a line in a thong being compared to the people stood next to you in your kind of carrot colored as well. So like, how do you help, how do we help someone not feel like a tit and feel like I'm confident, like I can win this, like not be looking, oh my God, like their delts are bigger. Like, how do we do this, right? It's hard, surely.
Yeah, it is very hard. I think the thing that I try to get all my clients to do is just kind of like be very aware of what they've done in the past. So like, you don't just wake up one day and put tan on and step on stage. You'll go through a 20-week diet. But before that, you'll go through a 40-week off season and maybe another 15-week diet before that. So you get them to look at everything that they've done to that point and start to see that they are capable of doing stuff and being a version of themselves that they've never been before. And, just the stepping on the stage, the tan, all the rest of it, being judged against other people, it's just all part of the process. And you shouldn't necessarily pin too much on like the winning or, getting your trophy or whatever. You should just focus entirely on like, right, this is the process that I've committed myself to. This is almost like the end goal, but it's not an end goal. It's just part of the bigger picture that you'll not be able to see for, the next 5 years. It's really, really weird, but it is extremely deep. When every time I'll, have a consult with anyone or have a chat with anyone on why they want to compete, there's always a really deep reason as to why they want to do it. Like, there's very few people that turn around and go, I just want to do it for a laugh. Like, it's not that enjoyable. Like,
Yeah.
it's more of I don't know, it's more like a deep journey that someone wants to go on because of shit that's happened in the past or because they're in a weird place of their life at the minute. Like, it's a proper weird one, bodybuilding.
It's interesting the way you describe it as like, obviously you've got all of the inputs that go in and this like structured path. And if you focus too much on the outcome, then it might ruin the outcome. It screams like a business strategy to me. Like, do you think that the way that you approach bodybuilding reflects in how you show up in your business?
100%. Yeah. Again, it's like the transferable skills of bodybuilding. If you can commit yourself to something and, truly look at it and go, I'm doing everything that I can, you can take that mindset and apply it to other areas of your life. It doesn't necessarily have to be business, but, I've got quite a lot of clients that are dads and they're like, right, if I can do this for myself, what can I do for my kids? Like, how can I turn up for them the way that I turn up for myself? Like, honestly, it's so deep and I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the transferable skills of bodybuilding like transcend way beyond putting on tan and a skimpy bikini. It's definitely a mindset and a skill set that you can use in absolutely everything.
Yeah, 100%. The discipline around it and the training and the mindset around it, it helps you develop as a person so much in terms of like how you show up in business, but in life for your partner as well. Like, obviously I'm grateful to have Gio be on a similar journey to me, but like the fact that we are both going through that, and we're both that disciplined and that consistent, like it helps us like manage so many things that get thrown our way on a daily basis. So yeah, totally. I think I completely agree with that. It's so transferable.
Yeah. So
It's
many times in bodybuilding where you can look at it and go, oh, this is really quite an overwhelming period of my life. But then you get through it and you're like, oh, it weren't anywhere near as bad as what I thought it was going to be. And again, it's just that like building that mental fortitude. It's amazing.
Takes so much resilience and discipline. I think just like like watching you go through like obviously prep, Nora, and the way you speak about it, it's very enlightening because I think it's often something that's judged quite a lot, to be honest, and like very misunderstood from people that aren't in the industry or people that don't know bodybuilders. Like, there can be presumptions that it's, you've got an eating disorder or like it's not a healthy thing to do. What's your take on that, Josh, in terms of like people saying that bodybuilding isn't healthy?
It's define healthy. A lot of the people that are saying that it's not healthy are the same people that like will have like 2-3 takeaways a week and, sleep for like 4 hours a night or the opposite, 12 hours. It isn't healthy. When you get to the extremes of anything, it's not healthy. Like the run up to a show, it's probably the least healthiest that you could be, but it's the most lean that you've ever been. Same when you're in an off season and you're pushing body weight super high. It's not necessarily healthy then, but it's such a tricky one. I always like say to people when they're like worried about my health is I can reverse anything that I've done in a very short period of time. So like I can push to the limit on like a, getting lean from, and I can pull myself out of it. And within 2-3 weeks, be at a healthier body weight with healthier composition and mindset. It's almost like just kind of just pushing it to an extreme for a very short period of time rather than like staying in that state for a long time and it doing more like detrimental long-term effects.
I
Health
think
is at the
it's
forefront of everything that we do, of
yeah.
course.
It is it's strategic, like just like with any other sport that is, a bit of an extreme sport, or even like High Rocks as an example. When you look at the Elite 15s, like they plan everything so specifically towards that day that they're competing. They can't miss, a training. I bet their nutrition is very dialed in, even though it's a performance sport and not an aesthetic sport.
I try to like compare bodybuilding to like other sports. And with bodybuilding, you've almost got to become like an elite level athlete at the amateur level. Whereas like if you're playing football, you can almost like, say if you played semi-pro, you could act like a semi-professional athlete and be fine. Whereas bodybuilding, you've almost like got to go beyond the standard that you're at. And that can come across as quite extreme. So it's like, you're not going to be able to get away with doing a shorter prep if you want to do well as an amateur. So you could look at it and go, you've been dieting for 30 weeks. That's so unhealthy. That's disordered, yada, yada, yada. But that's just what you've got to do well at a low level. And then again, like when I've competed at the highest level of natural bodybuilding, when you see the guys out there, the things that they're doing, it's not crazy different to what the people at the bottom level are doing.
Yeah.
So it comes across as though that it's more drastic because the standard that you're competing at is lower. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. What are the crazy things people do then? You sort of dangled that carrot then. So you said some of the things they're doing seem a bit different, but have you seen any crazy shit when you've been at shows? Or like, what's the most like unhinged thing you've seen at a bodybuilding competition?
I can give you, so in bodybuilding, you've got like the natural and the unnatural, the untested. A friend of mine recently spent an hour in a sauna whilst he'd not had any water for the day and not eaten any carbs for 2 days, trying to make weight for a show. That's
That,
quite dangerous. So that's like, but that's not unheard of. That's a relatively normal thing. Normal. The least normal thing ever. But it's a relatively normal thing when you're trying to make weight in bodybuilding. So you hear stories like that all the time.
that's quite scary, isn't it? Did he come out like a season?
Yeah. But he made weight, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. I think one thing that I've always liked about your coaching style has been that bodybuilding never takes over your life. I think you've applied that in your own competitions as well, which is why me and Gio initially inquired with you, is like, we didn't want to go with someone that bodybuilding was their entire life because we didn't want that to become us. And like, we wanted that to be like a thing that our hobby, almost like something that we just do and we enjoy and like it's part of our life, but not necessarily takes over it. And, I know you've had like your signature, like peaking protocols with your comms, like having a wakamama the night before, a beer and all that stuff, which you don't typically see, right?
I wouldn't have a beer the night before. I'd end up pissed.
I think I've seen a YouTube vlog of you having a beer before a show.
I might have had a glass of champagne a few days before.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe that. But yeah, like how you approach it is very different to other bodybuilding coaches out there, I would say as well. Do you think that is part of like your strategy around getting the right people on board that you align with?
When I look at the industry now, I think there's a lot of people that are trying to create a position of authority. Or like, they're trying to look as though they are way more hardcore than they need to be. Whereas like my coaching approach, I would say like my approach to life is doing what's necessary. And sometimes it's not necessary to completely ruin your life for a bodybuilding show. Sometimes it's necessary to go out for food and have a meal with your missus or whatever to chill you out a bit. And that might not look like a normal thing to do for a lot of coaches because they've never done it before and they can't see the benefits of it. But for me, it's like, these are all necessary things. There's no point making your life harder because your coach doesn't want to look as though, they're being soft on you or, they won't want to get like a weird reputation for being this chill guy that I'm quite happy to have. Is it a tactic of getting the people in that I want to work with? Maybe a little bit. I've had it a few times where like someone will come to me that's worked with a super strict coach and they'll like almost take it the wrong way of how I'm being. Whereas like, they could go, oh, Josh, I want to go out for an off-plan meal this weekend. And I'll just be like, yeah, that's fine. And they're like, oh, you've not even asked what it is. I'm like, well, I don't need to know really. I can't imagine you're going to go and eat, the entire fridge. So I think you'll be fine. And equally, like what's one meal going to do for the rest of the month that you've been perfect for? So does it? Yeah, it does help with attracting the right people, but sometimes it can get misunderstood. I reckon if I wanted to have a bigger coaching business than what I do now, I could have maybe made it look more hardcore and more profound than what it is or what I think it is. But I'm happy with keeping it real and keeping it authentic to myself.
Yeah. But I guess like by bringing the right people in, which you have done, I mean, you do team meetups quite often. And one thing that I've noticed is like everyone's very similar. They're different, but similar in their values and they're good fun. They don't take it too seriously. You do have the very serious bodybuilders as well. But yeah, most of your clients are people in, relationships that want to go out with their partner, or want to have a bit of family time and like be present, and like they value that stuff and they don't want bodybuilding taking over that in any ways. Would you say that has allowed you to build a bit of a community within the business as well?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. I think that is like the best bit about my job. Like, there's so many people that like I work with, and I'm like, oh, if you met this guy, like you'd get on like a house on fire. I've had it before where like last year we did a team meetup, and y- like most coaching businesses, you end up with like the young guys, the guys that are like in the 20s, and then guys that are like, in the 30s. And all my young guys, they all like, having met each other once, they all like booked to go on a holiday together. And I was like, I knew this was going to happen because they're all so similar. Like they're similar to me in many ways, but they're all the exact same. And it's so nice. And I don't think you can build a coaching team like that by going like hunting for your clients. You've almost got to just be a magnet and accept that, the right people are going to come your way.
I love that analogy. But I just have to ask one question before we move on from this. If the young guys aren't in their 20s, how old are the young guys?
So my young guys are like 22 and younger.
Okay,
My
fine.
my mid 20s are like people like me.
Okay, fine. I was like, God, are we aging over
Oh
here?
no, there's some like 18-year-olds in the team.
Wow. And how old
Yeah,
do you have to compete? Is there an age on it?
there's a teen class.
Really?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not a fan of the teen class. I don't think that there should be teens competing in
Yeah.
bodybuilding.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because that is my instant gut reaction, was that sounds really like they're not ready for it yet.
Yeah, yeah. And I tell all of my teens that. But then it's like, I've now got the opportunity, if I am working with a teenager, to
Mm.
help them on their journey as healthy as possible.
Yeah.
To make sure that they don't get too bogged down in like, being lean or like focusing too much on social media and trying to like grow all that kind of shite, because it's all veneer nonsense.
Yeah. Gosh, I
Yeah,
had no idea that you could compete in your teens. That's blown my mind a little bit. But I think that's really good, the approach that you've got. And you're right. Like, if they're going to do it, you'd rather them do it safely.
Speaking of growing the business, then, have you invested in the business before? Like whether that would be like a coach, a mentor, like
no, initially, no. Like for years and years, it was like literally just organic growth. Like kind of relying on word of mouth. But
Yeah.
then about 12 months ago, I did hire a business coach for, I think it were about 3 months. And I can't lie, it was the most money that the business has ever made, ever.
really.
But it was the least amount of fun that I've ever had working, because I did everything that they said and signed up loads of new clients. But there were so many people that I just weren't aligned with.
Mm.
I was working with like just people all over the world that either potentially didn't know me quite as well as what my British clients do. And I just didn't enjoy work as much. So it was like, yeah, all right, the strategies have worked. Fair play. I respect people that are able to scale their business to like, multiple six figures a year. But for me, like I got into coaching because I enjoy coaching. I'm
Yeah.
quite all right with slower growth if the growth is good growth. And I'm working with people like Gio and Nora. Like you guys came to me, I didn't go hunting for you. Like I'd rather have that consistently over the space of 2 years than have like an aggressive 3-month growth
Yeah.
spurt where you're working with a lot of people that you just don't get on with, or they're not bought into you and vice versa. Yeah, it was a weird one.
That's really interesting. And something that screams for me is that you've obviously got great retention. Because, like, Nora's, I worked with you, 3 years? Who was it earlier that had worked for you for 7 years, your first client? Like, when you get people in, you look after them so well, your service is brilliant that they stay. So, like, it's not necessarily like you need to be growing aggressively to grow your business. Because 3 months to work with a business coach isn't a very long time, to be honest. That's quite a short burst. So it obviously wasn't feeling aligned,
Aligned.
which,
Very quick, honestly, after about 6 weeks, I was like, right, nice one. For numbers, I went from like, I did like a 9K month and then went from 9 to 17K in a few weeks.
wow.
But that extra money, I would have rather have not earned it. It
Mm.
was just crap. Honestly, it was so shit. But I stuck with it because I was paying for it, and I kind of wanted to see if I'd get to, that like that good core of people eventually, and I just didn't. I did a comparison at the start of this year of the client retention of people that like came through working with a mentor versus the organic growth. And the mentor sign-ups were like an average of 3.5 months, which is not a long time. Whereas my organic, it's like 17 months, which is, yeah, what would you rather have?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean,
there's
long term as well, even if you sign more clients, but they only stay for 3 months, the lifetime value is so different. 17 months of someone paying you X amount versus 3.5.
Yeah. But also all the other things that come with ongoing retention, right? So when someone stays longer, they get better results. When they get better results, they're happier. They tell more people, you get more referrals. But also it's way more rewarding for you because there's nothing more shit than having a client that isn't winning. Like I feel sometimes more upset and anxious about someone not getting results than they probably do. Because I just want them to succeed and it's so shit when they don't. Speaking of which, have you experienced that when someone's trying and things aren't working, and like if someone is genuinely following all the steps and everything you're coaching them to do, has there ever been an example where it's just not working and then they're like, Josh, like this isn't working, the coaching isn't working, I'm leaving, and like throwing a little hissy fit? Like, has that ever happened in your years of coaching?
Many times, many times. I think some people think that they are working and they're not.
Mm.
You know, it's like I always like talk about steps with people. Like, you know, there's a difference between like registering a step and like marching. So it's like, yeah, you can get the same number on the screen, but is it at the same intensity? Is the quality there? Like, are you doing everything right? You'll always get people that like, you know, they'll think that they should have got more results in the time frame that you've been working with them. You'll get people that are like absolutely ecstatic with the results that they've got, and it could be literally the exact same. It's just part of working with people. I suppose the aim is to kind of like get the clients that are losing their heads a bit to kind of, again, look at what they've done or like where they were at and kind of get them to see that the trajectory that they're on is a good trajectory. It might just be slower than what they expected, but slow progress is better than no progress.
Yeah. How do you deal with cancellations, and like have you got a way of like not letting it emotionally like impact you when someone does leave the coaching program?
Ew. It
What does
used
it?
to affect me so much more, but I
Mm.
think having had like my really high turnover period last year, I'm a lot better now at like almost moving on from things, not letting them upset me. And then also again, like say at least 95% of my clients leave, if not all of them, God, leave in a better state than what they arrive in. So being able to look at that and just be proud of that, knowing that like, you know, I've done my job. You know, I think quite a lot of coaches take it for granted that the client's going to stay with them forever. So there needs to be an element of, you know, all right, okay, I've had them for this period of time. We've got this result and now they've left. Like that, it's not that deep. It's not a personal attack. It's just, this is business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get too cut up now.
That's good. That shows a lot of like growth, I think, because it does sting. Like, let's not pretend it's nice when someone leaves.
It depends who it is. Sometimes you're like, thank fuck for that.
Yeah. Well, I think it's part of the parcel with any service business, isn't it? When you deal with people, there will always, you can't expect people to stay forever. Equally, you can't expect to gel with everyone. And there are those times where either it's not working for them or it's not working for you. Has there been a case where it wasn't working for you? You were really not enjoying coaching that person and you said, yeah, this is not working. Let's.
Yes.
The client.
Yes. I have like an audit that I do every 6 months. So dear, about 2 years ago, I was working with a girl who's an influencer.
Mhm.
And when she checked in, I used to get anxiety like, oh, shit, I'm scared to do the loom. I'm scared to tell her that like, you know, there's changes coming. She'd spend all of her check-in almost complaining that she weren't getting the results that she wanted, but then also saying, oh yeah, she was like living in Bali and stuff. So she didn't cook at all ever. It's like, you're not going to get the bloody results that you want from the work that you're not doing. So that was like my first one where I was like, right, the money that she's paying me isn't worth the stress that it's causing me. So when I broke up with her as a client, after that, I was like, oh, it's not that bad. You know, sometimes you need to do this. But
Mm.
like last year after the business mentor, I spent a lot of time trying to grow and grow and grow. And it came to a point where like I had like 90 clients, weren't really enjoying it. I'm trying to offer like top tier service to 90 people. I couldn't do that at the time. So I got rid of 25 clients heading into this year, which, like, you know, to sacrifice that much money, fucking hell, you're like, Jesus, how am I going to bounce back from that? But I've been able to do my job better with everyone else that I've got. So those little breakups, it's not that deep. It's fine.
Yeah, you shook the tree.
Yeah.
I made the cut.
Nora, if you saw who didn't make the cut, you'd be like, "What the fuck?" But it's meant that I can enjoy my job way more. So again, it's like it's a few grand, right? Whatever, move on, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that space that it's opened up, yeah, you might have like lost a little bit of money there, but the service then improved for everyone else. Your headspace, like you enjoying the business. Like we always say, there's no point making loads of money if you can't enjoy it, because you've got no time to spend the money you're making and you don't have the brain capacity to be present and enjoy your life. It's just not worth it. So yeah, I think that's amazing. And a lot of people could learn from it as well. It's not all about money.
It really isn't. But again, you don't know that until you've earned a decent amount of money through your business.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's people sat here going, "Oh, Josh, I'd love to have all those 25 clients." You wouldn't. You wouldn't. You'd want to have 25 clients that are aligned with you, not 25 that aren't.
Yeah. What do you think of, obviously you followed some tactics, and we're not going to like name and shame the business mentorship. But I would love to know what you think was the thing that got in the wrong people. Like, can you give us any kind of indication of like, where did the misalignment come from? Maybe from a marketing perspective, was there like a tactic that you ran? Was it a specific kind of ad? Like, what was the thing that you think brought in the wrong people to the business?
I think almost trying to monetize the entirety of my audience. So like
Okay.
every person that followed me, whereas, you know, maybe if I was better at marketing, I'd be able to see who I'm more aligned with better. You know, like going on someone's profile and like, oh yeah, that aligns with me. That's good. That's good. Whereas last year it was just talk to everyone, try and build a relationship with everyone, then
Yeah.
try and sell to everyone. And people would buy because some people have money and you know, you can't really tell much about a personality in the DMs.
Yeah.
It was just a weird time.
Yeah, makes sense. So probably not like fully qualifying all the leads,
Yeah,
much as you could have done. Fair play for cutting off 25 clients. That's bold. I love it.
it was so necessary.
That's been very insightful. Some things I didn't know about the business as well, even though I've been
I don't think I've ever spoke about it online. So you've got some
there we
stuff
go, I've
here.
got some golden nuggets.
Because Nora claims that she's like really good client and she does everything. And I kind of believe that that is true, but I want to ask you directly. Does Nora actually tick every single box like she claims she does as your client?
Nora has completed 698 workouts since we've started working together. She has an 89% completion rate, as in like everything's ticked off.
Habit.
In terms of percentage wise or like placings, I would probably say Nora's in the top 5 of my clients.
Jesus. Is she
She's
better than
pretty
Gio?
good.
Does she rank higher than Gio?
In the placings, yes, she does. But there's other rankings that we've got going on at Just Coaching. You know, Gio's a vibe guy. You know, we love Gio. He's actually good at bodybuilding.
Excuse me? What does that?
Nora, we've got to give him some wins. He might actually listen to this one. Gio, you're amazing.
Yeah,
Gio's actually really good at bodybuilding.
he's
That's
really good.
his thing.
He is really good. He's gotten some trophies as well. I haven't, so we'll see after this season.
Bring it on.
We will.
Would love to know, Josh, before we close up, if someone is listening to this and they're like, I'd love to build a business that aligns with me, that's like something like yours, like what you've created over all these years, what would be the best piece of advice you could give them?
Be completely authentic to yourself. Don't look at what other people in the space are doing and try to copy them. Take inspiration, of course. Be yourself. There's only one version of you. And like I've said so many times on this podcast, you want to build a business that like you actually want to enjoy working in. So being yourself, documenting your journey, you'll end up with the business that you want rather than the one that, you know, everyone else has or seems to have. And just be patient. Like I have been in this game a very long time, and I hoped that I'd be in this position that I'm in now after like 2 years. And that, you know, you realize very quickly that that's not going to happen, but you just got to believe that you will end up in a good position eventually. and turning up every day and, you know, being grateful that you're able to do this as a job rather than like viewing everything as like a massive, oh, I've got to do this many check-ins today and, you know, message this many people and look at all these phone videos. It's not that deep. It's not that big a deal. Just enjoy it.
That. Yeah. Impact over income is what we always say. And you align with that very well. So yeah, that's been a
I
great
love that.
conversation.
Impact over income. That is me to the core. I don't give a shit about money.
Yeah,
Money-
we always say the more you focus on impact, the more income you make. Like the people that are looking for the quick fix, you might get the big months for 1-2 months. People leave if you don't deliver the service, if you don't really care about what you do, really offer a great service, really care about the clients. It's only lasting for that long. Yeah. And that story that you said about the lifetime value of your clients that came through organic versus pushy strategies and like really aggressive marketing is proof of that. So yeah, love that. Well, it's been a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope that it's been a very helpful conversation for other coaches that want to do similar things to what you've achieved.
Josh, if you want to drop you a follow and keep in touch and watch your journey, what handles shall they be following?
Search Josh Croggon on Instagram, and I'm sure I will appear. I'm on a few podcasts. I've got a relatively consistent YouTube. Yeah, but only come if you're like aligned with me. Don't bother coming into this my little bubble if you're a dickhead. We don't do dickheads.
This is interesting. Zone. We have a no dickhead policy. Love it. Thank you so much for your time, all your wisdom. It was so nice to meet you. Finally, well, I know what your face looks like, so I was going to say a face to the name. But, nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.